Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, eyes half open, and suddenly felt that familiar pressure in your lower belly? You shuffle to the bathroom like always, thinking nothing of it. It's just a normal routine. You've done it hundreds of times. But what if I told you that in that 1 minute right there between the bed and the toilet, something dangerous could be quietly building inside your body, and that for seniors over 60, this everyday moment could raise your stroke risk by up to 300%. I know it sounds shocking, and believe me, as a brain doctor who has cared for hundreds of stroke patients, it still shocks me too, because the habit we're talking about isn't extreme. It's not something most people would ever think of as dangerous. In fact, many of my elderly patients do it every single day. They don't feel pain. They don't feel warning signs. Until suddenly, something changes. Their vision blurs. Their balance slips. And in some heartbreaking cases, they don't make it to the hospital in time. This video isn't about fear. It's about awareness. It's about catching something before it becomes tragic. And today, I'll walk you through the daily habit that's quietly increasing your stroke risk, and how just one small change can protect your brain, your heart, and your independence. Let's begin together. Let's take a moment to truly understand what we're up against. A stroke happens when the blood flow to your brain is suddenly cut off, either by a clot that blocks the artery or by a blood vessel that bursts and bleeds into the brain. And when that blood stops flowing, brain cells begin to die in just a matter of minutes. Now, that may sound technical, but here's what it means in real life. It means the part of your brain that controls your speech, your balance, your memory, can go dark, sometimes permanently, just like flipping a switch. And depending on where the stroke occurs, it can leave you unable to walk, talk, swallow, or even recognize your loved ones. But here's what makes stroke especially dangerous for people over 60. The signs can be subtle and far too easy to ignore. You might feel a little dizzy. Your hand might feel tingly or weak for a minute. You might forget what day it is or slur a few words, and then it passes. So you shake it off, assuming it's just a senior moment. But it wasn't just a moment. It may have been your brain's final warning sign. And what's more heartbreaking, studies show that 1 in 4 strokes are actually preceded by small, silent warning strokes, called mini strokes or transient ischemic attacks. These episodes often happen hours or even days before the big one strikes. But because they come and go so quickly, most people dismiss them. Another reason stroke is so overlooked is that we tend to focus more on heart attacks. They feel dramatic, pain in the chest, sweating, a clear emergency. But stroke? It can sneak up on you quietly, especially in the early morning or during private moments like in the bathroom. And for older adults, those quiet times are when the body is most vulnerable. Blood pressure fluctuates, circulation is slower, reaction time decreases. That's why a simple daily habit, done at the wrong time or in the wrong way, can act like the spark that lights a fire. So now that we understand the silent danger, let's talk about the habit that most seniors do every day without knowing it could be raising their stroke risk by 300%. So what is this habit that's quietly raising your stroke risk? It happens in a place most of us consider safe, private, even comforting. The bathroom. More specifically, straining while having a bowel movement. Now, I know that's not an easy topic to talk about, but believe me, this is one conversation that could save your life. Because for seniors, what seems like a normal part of daily life can turn into a serious medical emergency without warning. Here's what happens inside your body. When you strain, especially if you hold your breath while pushing hard, you're doing something called the Valsalva maneuver. It's a reflex where you bear down, your chest tightens, and your blood pressure spikes dramatically. In fact, studies show that blood pressure during straining can reach levels as high as 180 over 110, a dangerous zone for the brain. Now imagine that pressure hitting a blood vessel in your brain that's already weakened by age, high cholesterol, or years of hypertension. It's like squeezing a thin garden hose at full pressure. One wrong push, and that vessel can burst, or worse, it can collapse inward, causing a blockage that cuts off blood to part of the brain. That's the recipe for an ischemic stroke, the most common type. In my years as a neurologist, I've seen this happen more times than I care to count. There was a patient named Mr. Harris. He was 74, lived alone, and had been dealing with mild constipation for years. One morning, he got up, went to the bathroom, and pushed harder than usual. Minutes later, he collapsed. By the time paramedics arrived, he had suffered a massive stroke. He survived, but he lost the ability to speak clearly and walk without assistance. His entire life changed in a matter of minutes, all because of something that seemed normal. And here's the most concerning part. Up to 22% of strokes in older adults happen either on the toilet or within minutes after leaving it. That's nearly 1 in 4. A 7-year study from the Cardiovascular Institute of California tracked over 15,000 people, aged 65 and older. They found that seniors who frequently strained during bowel movements had a 3-fold increase in stroke risk compared to those who didn't. Why? Because straining doesn't just spike your blood pressure. It also causes your heart rate to drop briefly, then surge. This roller coaster effect puts enormous stress on your arteries and your heart, especially if you already have conditions like atrial fibrillation or clogged vessels. And yet most seniors don't even realize they're doing it. It becomes a routine, something they brush off as part of getting older or having a slow stomach. But the truth is, it's not just normal aging. It's a warning sign, and one that we can do something about. Because the good news is, this is a habit you can change, starting today. You don't need expensive medication. You don't need special equipment. You just need to become aware of what your body is doing and make a few gentle adjustments. In the next part of this video, I'll walk you through 4 other everyday habits that may also be raising your stroke risk without you realizing it. Some of them might surprise you, but all of them can be corrected with calm, simple changes that make a big difference. Let's keep going. Now that we've looked at how straining during a bowel movement can dramatically increase stroke risk, let's go a little deeper, because that's not the only daily habit silently putting your brain in danger. As a doctor who works closely with seniors, I've noticed a pattern. There are certain routines that may feel comforting or even healthy, but when done the wrong way or at the wrong time, they can quietly push your body into stroke territory. Let me walk you through 4 common habits that are often overlooked, yet deeply connected to increased stroke risk after 60. 1. Taking very hot showers, around or over 104 degrees. Many older adults love a steaming hot shower, especially in the early morning or before bed. It feels relaxing, helps soothe joint pain, and gives a sense of comfort. But what most people don't realize is how extreme heat affects the cardiovascular system. When your body is exposed to hot water, your blood vessels dilate or widen. At first, that might sound like a good thing, but for seniors, this widening can cause a sudden drop in blood pressure, making the heart work harder to push blood through. Your pulse quickens, and if there's any plaque buildup in your arteries, this rapid change in blood flow can dislodge it. One study from the University of Tokyo followed more than 30,000 people over 20 years. They found that people who regularly took hot baths had a 26% higher risk of cardiovascular events, including stroke. The fix is simple. Keep shower temperatures below 100 degrees and limit hot showers to 10 minutes. It's still warm, still soothing, without the sudden vascular stress. 2. Sitting too long on the toilet, especially with a phone. This one might make you smile, because let's be honest, many of us bring our phones, magazines, or newspapers into the bathroom. It feels like a quiet moment of peace. But here's the hidden risk. When you sit on the toilet for extended periods, especially leaning forward or staying still, circulation slows in your legs and pelvis. This makes it easier for small blood clots to form. And if even one of those clots travels to the brain, that's an ischemic stroke waiting to happen. A UK study of 13,000 seniors found that those who regularly spent more than 10 minutes on the toilet had a 37% higher risk of cardiovascular events, including stroke. It's not just the sitting, it's the position. When you're hunched over your phone, your neck is down, your back is compressed, and blood flow to the brain is subtly reduced. All of this adds up. Solution? Use the bathroom only for what it's meant for. Leave the phone or reading materials outside. And if you notice you're spending more than a few minutes sitting there, take a break, stand up, and return later if needed. 3. Skipping morning hydration. After 7-8 hours of sleep, your body wakes up mildly dehydrated. Your blood is thicker. Your heart has to work harder. And yet, many seniors go straight to coffee or tea without drinking a sip of water first. Here's the problem. Caffeine is a diuretic, which means it actually pulls water from your body. So if you drink coffee before rehydrating, you're making your blood even more concentrated, raising your blood pressure and increasing the risk of clots. The American Heart Association notes that dehydration is a key factor in early morning strokes. That's because your blood is stickier, your circulation is slower, and your body hasn't yet stabilized its internal rhythm. What to do instead? Drink a full glass of water within 15 minutes of waking. Even better, add a few drops of lemon juice and a pinch of sea salt to help replenish electrolytes. Then wait 20 minutes before having coffee or tea. This tiny change can do wonders for your stroke prevention routine. 4. Standing up too quickly, especially from bed or the toilet. Have you ever stood up and suddenly felt lightheaded or dizzy? That moment, just a few seconds, is your brain telling you it's not getting enough oxygen. This is called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when you stand up. And in older adults, it's one of the leading causes of falls, fainting, and, yes, stroke. Here's why. When you stand up too quickly, gravity pulls blood toward your legs. If your blood vessels don't respond fast enough, which often happens after 60, your brain doesn't get the blood it needs. Even a momentary shortage can cause confusion, loss of balance, or in severe cases, a stroke due to lack of oxygen. What's worse, falls that result from this can lead to head trauma, and head trauma is a well-known trigger for hemorrhagic stroke, a type of bleeding in the brain. How to protect yourself? Take your time. When you wake up, sit on the edge of the bed first. Let your feet dangle. Take a few deep breaths. Then stand slowly, using support if needed. These gentle transitions allow your blood pressure to stabilize and help avoid dangerous drops that stress the brain and heart. Every single one of these habits may seem harmless, but when combined with aging blood vessels, changes in circulation, and pre-existing conditions, they can quietly raise stroke risk in ways most people never expect. And the most beautiful part is, each of these habits can be adjusted with simple, realistic changes. In the next section, I'll guide you through exactly how to shift these routines in a way that feels natural, not overwhelming, so you can protect your brain every single day. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Small changes matter, especially after 60. You don't need to overhaul your life or follow some complicated plan. You simply need to support your body where it needs it most, gently, consistently, and with awareness. Let me walk you through a few simple steps that can help lower your stroke risk every single day. First, start your mornings with water. Before reaching for coffee or tea, drink a full glass of room temperature water. This rehydrates your system, thins your blood, and supports smooth circulation to the brain. You can add a few drops of lemon or a pinch of sea salt for a little extra mineral support. Second, change how you get out of bed. Instead of rising all at once, begin by lying still for 30 seconds. Breathe deeply, then sit up slowly. let your feet rest on the floor before standing. This helps your blood pressure adjust and prevents dizziness or dangerous drops in brain oxygen. Third, create a safer bathroom routine. Avoid sitting on the toilet for too long. Leave your phone outside. Focus only on what your body needs. And most importantly, never strain. If you feel constipated, take a break, stand up, and return later. To help prevent constipation in the first place, eat more fiber-rich foods like oatmeal, berries, and vegetables. Drink enough water throughout the day. And stay lightly active. Just a walk around the house or light stretching can keep things moving naturally. Fourth, watch your shower habits. Keep your water temperature warm, not hot. Use your hand to test the heat. If it feels too hot to hold under your wrist, it's too hot for your blood vessels. And keep your showers under 10 minutes. These changes might sound small, but they build up over time. Think of them as quiet ways to care for your brain, to protect your independence, to give your loved ones more years with you, healthy and present. Stroke prevention doesn't require perfection. It simply asks for mindfulness, patience, and kindness toward your body every single day. If you've made it this far, I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to care for yourself, because what we've talked about today, it's not just about avoiding a medical emergency. It's about protecting the moments that matter most. You see, stroke isn't just a health issue. It's a life interruption. It's missed birthdays. It's not being able to hold your grandchild the same way. It's losing pieces of your voice, your memory, your movement. Sometimes, forever. But the good news, so much of it can be prevented. Every glass of water, every mindful step out of bed, every time you pause instead of straining or rushing, those are all acts of protection, acts of love for yourself. You have more power than you think. And it starts not with big leaps, but with small, quiet changes in your daily routine. If this message touched you, I invite you to share it with someone you love. And don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Whisper, where we speak gently, but truthfully, about how to live longer, better, and safer after 60. Until next time, take care of your brain. It's been taking care of you for a very long time.